Hello, Blue Devils. I'm Olivia Woodfield. I'm a senior here at Showwich, and welcome to World Change 101. Today, I will be speaking with Tracy Guerrero, the project manager for Indianapolis Airport Authority. According to the IAA website, the IAA was established in 1962 by the General Assembly. It's, it owns, develops, and operates 6 airports in the Indianapolis area. Good afternoon, Ms. Guerrero.
Good afternoon, Olivia. Thank you for having me.
Could you begin by giving us a description of what you do as project manager?
So project manager management is really being like an intermediary or being the middle person between managing a project and working with contractors. So that was actually my previous role. I moved into a new role recently. I am a program manager for our federal compliance, which includes our Title VI, which is non-discrimination, and then our um, airport concessions, disadvantaged business enterprises. So that is all of the diverse businesses in the airport, which we receive federal funding for. But going back to project management, that really is a role where you have to manage the time, budget, and constraints of a project. So making sure the contractors that you work with are doing what they're supposed to do in terms of like how much money they can spend and how long it'll take for them to finish a project. So keeping all of that in line and making sure everything is in check with keeping in communication with contractors.
Cool. Time-wise, how demanding would you say your job is?
Time wise, I think in a typical day, you could really spend all of your time reading emails because you constantly get emails. So I would say usually within a week, I spend about maybe 45 minutes, 45 hours at work in a regular week. And that's just because you have to go out and do meetings. So that takes time. That takes you away from your computer from doing work or doing reports. And then you have to keep up with email. But overall, in a day, you might work a little more than 8 hours.
Can you describe the most difficult thing that you had to do as project manager?
Yes, so as a project manager, I think the most difficult thing I had to do was learning how to communicate with my superiors, my group project, and with contractors. So really before I started being a project manager previously, I communicated mostly with people that kind of had the same knowledge that I did about certain things. So when I moved into the project manager role, I had to communicate with people that were a lot more that were experts in their fields. So we have consultants that we work with that are engineers that do engineering, and that's their specialty. And I wasn't really prepped for all of the engineering terminology, so learning some of that terminology and also communicating that terminology, being the middle person between consultants and a contractor, and learning the terminology and bringing it to the contractor and letting them know what it is that we need to get done. That was the most difficult part for me.
What would you say is the favorite part of your job?
Favorite part of my job? I think so. I'm located at the terminal at the airport over here on the west side. So my favorite part of my job is just really, I would say, seeing the customers come in and out of the airport. Sometimes you'll just be walking and you'll be seeing you're able to help someone, whether it's like find their gate or they have a question about something. So that's definitely the favorite part of my job. And I think another thing I would have to say is my favorite part is like learning. Like I said, I wasn't an engineer. I didn't really have that engineering background. So learning about different terminologies and then different aspects of my job was something that I definitely found challenging but rewarding.
Can you describe the benefits of working for the Indianapolis Airport Authority?
Yes, so the benefits of working for the airport authority. One question I always get is whether we get free flights. We don't because we don't work for the airline. Yeah, I know, right? But we do get free parking. But also the airport has really invested in their people. So part of that is like the minimum wage, which I think it's called the Good Wage Initiative. The minimum wage at the airport starting out is $18 an hour. They've really invested in educating and providing education and benefits for the employees as well. So one of the other things is they'll pay for your education if you go to Ivy Tech or certain colleges that they have collaborations with. And so like they'll pay for your education, which is something that, you know, is very important to some people. Getting a degree. We have benefits like health insurance, life insurance, all the things that I didn't know about before I started working a job, you know, that I didn't really think about were important, because I think when you first start working out, or when I first started working out, it was more about like, how much am I going to get paid? But then when you're like actually an adult, you start thinking about things like life insurance, health insurance, all of the things that make up your benefits as well. So.
What's unique about working for the airport authority compared to other places you worked?
So I will disclosure, this was my first job. So I started as an intern here, and then I've moved kind of around. So they've given me that opportunity as well, which I would say is a benefit to answer your previous question. But I think one of the unique things is just being in a place that, you know, you get to say you work at the airport, right? So just coming in and not traveling, but being able to see all of the action going on, I think is one of the things that I really enjoy about my work. And also the people that I work with are phenomenal and really great to work with. So I would say I'm really lucky on both fronts.
Cool. How do you handle stress from the type of work you do?
Stress. I've been learning how to better manage that. So one of the things that they do here is like they have a gym. So we have a gym downstairs, and so I'll go to the gym, or they have yoga classes too. So I'll do like yoga, or I'll also, you know, one of the other things I started doing was like working out, because that's a way for me to like release. And then one other thing I like to do too is read. So like I'll get home and I'll read for a little bit, and then take a nap or go to sleep. So sleep's another thing I like to do to de-stress. Yeah.
Can you tell us what led you to pursue this type of career?
Yeah. So actually, I want to touch on, I went to Shortridge when I was in middle school. So this was like back in 2005 or something. So it was a long time ago. But I went to Shortridge Middle School, and from there they had a program called Science Bound, which was a collaboration with IPS and Purdue University. So it was kind of like 21st century scholar in the way that if you kept your grades up or met certain requirements, they would give you a scholarship to go to Purdue and study a STEM field career. So that's what kind of got me interested. Like I remember the time we went, there was a camp at Purdue, and they took us out to the Purdue airport, and they took us on a plane, and I'm like, this is so cool. Like aviation is so cool, right? And so when I went to school, when I went to Purdue, I was like, I want to do something in aviation. So I actually started out as an aviation engineering technology major, which is like air mechanics, the technology side of aviation, so working on airplanes. And from there I was like, I don't think this is for me. So I moved to the aviation management side, which is how I ended up working here. So the aviation management side is more of like the business side of aviation, which is very geared towards the aviation field, but you can work in, a lot of people that go into aviation management work for airlines, or they work for aerospace defense companies like Boeing and Honeywell and all those companies. And then some people go into airports, so like airport operations and all of that. So that's how I got interested, and that's how I ended up here.
Are there career goals you have beyond the career you have?
Yeah. So when I first started, I really wanted to be an airport director. So that's like a person that kind of oversees an airport. And that I've learned since being in the aviation field and in my career is that it varies. So like if you're an airport manager at a small airport, which they call them general aviation airports, which don't have flights like we do, an airport manager there does everything. So they do like the marketing, the finance, the operations, actually being out there and cleaning the airfield and all of that stuff, as opposed to like being at an airport like Indianapolis, where an airport director could just do the strategic part of aviation and not necessarily do all of the other things, but just kind of run the department. So I think for now, I'm still kind of trying to figure out what it is my ultimate career goal is, but maybe run an airport one day. So
Talk about some of the most important skills that are necessary for the job you do.
So communication. I think that's one of the biggest skills. Like I said, I kind of had to learn when I was a project manager and just tailoring to my job now. Communicating, being able to convey information from one source to another correctly. One other thing that I'm also a skill is writing. I hated writing when I was in school. We had to write like 5 to 10 page papers about a random topic, but it's really important because now that I'm in my role, you have to write summaries and executive summaries about certain topics and just very high level what it is you want people to know and want to tell people. And so writing is really important. And then I would say those are my top skills that come to top of mind and that I'm working on myself right now: communication and writing.
Is it common to have women in positions like yours?
Overall in aviation, no, there are very few women. But here at the Indianapolis airport, one thing that they've really been working is on building diverse workforce, building a diverse workforce. So recently, we've been doing some research and gathering information, and 52% of the people that work in our organization are either female or people of color. So, that's something that we are trying to elevate more and work on to be better. But overall, I think aviation could do a better job because there's not that many women working in this field.
Are there any projects that are upcoming that you are looking forward to?
Upcoming projects. So one of the big projects that the airport overall is working on is a runway project. So they're completely redoing one of the runways down to the dirt and building it back up. So that's a project that's going to take maybe 3 or 4 years. So there's a lot of engagement and a lot of that communication I was talking about earlier, because there's so many different people working on it. That's not a project that I'm working on, but that's a project that it's important to the community and to us here at the airport. For me myself, we are working on. So I work on our non-discrimination program, which also includes like our language access plan. So that's something that we have to keep a federal compliance. So that's something that I'm excited to be working on because we get to update it every so often, and we're going to update it here soon. So that's our resources. So doing some research on how many people do we have within the surrounding counties that are limited English, and how we can provide resources to those people when they travel through the airport.
Is it Does weather ever affect your job?
Weather, not me personally, but I know operations wise at the airport, yes. One of the things that the airport is known for, I don't think they've closed. I've heard they haven't closed the runway since a storm in 1970 something, and I'm not remembering the year right now. But the main objective is to always keep the runways open. So that includes having a lot of people in operations coming in, and they have these big snow plows that are huge, kind of like compared to the cities, but bigger, just to keep the runways clean. So there's like people that come out here, and that's their job to get on these big snow plows and just go up and down the runways as long as it's snowing, and it's a pretty cool thing to watch. And so it doesn't affect my job personally, but it does affect the airport, yes, weather.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with our students, body?
Yeah, I think I would like to tell the students, you guys are still figuring out what you're trying to do, and having conversations like this with people in the community, I think is very important and very cool of your teachers to have you guys do as you learn what you want to do. And also, one thing that I wish I could tell myself back when I was in high school is explore as much as you can. Be open to trying new experiences, because you never know where it's gonna lead you, and what you're gonna learn. I think that's the biggest thing, being open to learning new things, trying new things. So just be open, and good things will come to you guys. So.
That is about all the time we have for this World Changer 101. Thank you for joining us, Ms. Guerrero. We are so thankful for you taking the time to share your experiences with our students.
Thank you for having me.